Hello everyone and good morning or good afternoon depending on where you are in the world. My name is Angela and this is the Mylio Photos coffee break. Today we're going to be talking about keywords and specifically going into some of the new tools that were just introduced in Mylio Photos 24.6. It's going to be a fun one, so I can't wait to show you what we've got in store today. Before we dive in, I do want to let you know about some other events that we have going on. We do live Q&A sessions several times a week. We have regular sessions on Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, and these are drop-in sessions where you can pop in whether you've been with us for a long time or you are a brand new user. Everybody is welcome, and whether your question is geared towards somebody who's just getting started or more advanced, I'm happy to do what I can to help. I'm also, because of the new update, adding in a few extra pop-up sessions, and we're going to have a special one on Wednesday this next week. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific. We're trying out some later slots in the day, so hopefully that gets in a few people who aren't usually able to attend. And let me know what you guys think of that. We might do some juggling of the schedule to make sure more people are able to access those sessions. We also have these sessions every Friday that are called coffee breaks, and they are short tutorials followed up by more time for questions. This week, like I said, we're going to be talking about keywords, and next week we're going to be diving into the Quick Album. Now, you might remember, if you've been with us for a while, the Quick Album used to be called the Mylio Clipboard. That was kind of confusing as it is very similar to the System Clipboard, and then we didn't want people to have to try to differentiate between the two of them, so we renamed it the Quick Album. It's got some new tools in there as well, and I'm looking forward to showing you how that's a great staging area for moving things around, getting organized, and so forth. So that's next Friday on August 1st. I can't believe it's already almost August. We also have some webinars coming up for you guys. This afternoon, we're going to have one at 1 p.m. with Rich Harrington, and he's our head of product, and we're going to be talking about the brand new family plans. So if you're curious about learning more about what a family plan includes, how it improves your Mylio Photos experience if you're having a shared library, and all of those different features, please come to this webinar. It's going to be very informative. I hope you guys enjoy it. Plus, you have access to Rich, and questions that I can't answer, he usually can. So please feel free to join us at 1 p.m. this afternoon. So not a lot of break between coffee break and that. We want to keep you very busy this Friday. And then next week, I believe it's on July 30th. I didn't have enough room to fit it on this slide, but we are also having a webinar with Printique. So Mylio Photos has a great integration with Printique that lets you send pictures directly from your Mylio Photos library to Printique to get prints, make photo books, make other photo art. It's really, really cool, and they've got a great system. So next week, I'm going to go through walking a process to make a photo book based on the 4 years that I lived in Sicily. I'm going to title it 4 Years in Sicily. It seemed fitting. So I'm working on getting pictures ready for that, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you guys. You guys are going to help me make a really cool photo book, and that will be on, I believe, July 30th. Go to community.mylio.com/events to see all of the upcoming events and find the links to register and to join those various things. So hope to see you guys all at those different things. With that, let's go ahead and dive into today's programming. Today, we're going to talk about Tag Smarter and how to master keywords in Mylio Photos. Keywords are one of those kind of unsung heroes that I think a lot of people forget about, especially in the days, today with having AI at our fingertips. AI is wonderful, and it goes through and it gives names to things in your library. It does object recognition and recognizes things that you might not. But sometimes our brains don't work the same as AI, and the words that we use to remember things aren't necessarily what the AI is going to apply to your stuff. That's where keywords come in really, really important. So we're going to talk about why keywords are important. We'll go through what's new in version 24.6. I'll show you how to add keywords, manage your keyword list, some best practices for smart tagging, and how that allows you to find your photos quickly. So first off, keywords, why they matter. Fast, flexible search. This is something that is put into your metadata and is searchable inside Mylio Photos and elsewhere as well. So keywords are embedded in the industry standard XMP file that lives next to your pictures. This also means it's future-proof. So we hope that you'll stay with Mylio Photos for forever. That would be our preference, but you might want to take your pictures at some point and put them into other programs. The beauty of keywords is that they travel with your pictures in that industry standard file. So no matter what program you're using, those keywords are always there. There are a handful of things in Mylio Photos, like say albums or categories, that are specific to Mylio, but keywords are pretty universal. Most really good quality digital asset managers are going to recognize keywords. So this is the way to future-proof your library and make sure those important details are saved and recorded. All right. So some of the things that are new in version 24.6, and I'll show you these in the app. The first one I really love is autocomplete. So when you start typing in a keyword, Mylio is going to pull up a list of things that have those letters that you started typing. So you can choose the keyword you used before from the list. This makes it much harder to end up with multiple versions of a keyword. So whether you want to have dog and dogs, most people just want dog. Dogs is not all that much more descriptive in the plural than in the singular. So having just the single keyword dog is what most people are looking for. So it saves you having those types of variations. It's also going to save you from misspelling, because sometimes we get in a hurry and something gets misspelled. And I know I've got a few of those in my library. So having that autocomplete is going to make it much, much easier to keep your library clean and tidy. It also has a new visual management system where it has pills. So if you've been using smart tags and they have those little pill-shaped icons for each of the AI smart tags, it is going to be very similar to be working with keywords. There's also an improved workflow for copying and pasting. So if you add a bunch of keywords to one picture, you can then copy that list and paste it to one picture or many. So that's much, much faster. And batch editing. So there's lots of great tools that make this process faster and easier. I'll show you all of those here in this program. So let's start by adding keywords. The first thing you want to do if you're going through and adding keywords to an individual photo is open up the info panel and go to the keyword section. As you type them, if you hit comma, it's going to go ahead and add that one as a pill, and you're going to be able to go on to the next one. It has that autocomplete, which reduces typos and ensures consistency, and those easy to view pills. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. I'm going to start here with this picture of my cat Macallan. I captured this morning. He was looking pretty cute. Usually his brother's the one that lays with his crossed paws. So seeing him looking all classy like this was a bit more novel, and I thought he just looked adorable. So we get to keyword this picture of Mac. So I'm going to go ahead and start by opening up my info panel, and we're going to go into info, and we're going to scroll down to keywords. And you'll notice here it's a little bit cleaner than it used to be. So just quick add keywords. Let's go ahead and type in cat. And that's going to go ahead and pull up that drop-down list, and I can simply just click cat. Or if I click the comma key on my keyboard, it's going to go ahead, oops, see, I just misspelled that. I can just easily remove that. So click that X. Now it's gone. Let's try that again, C-A-T. And again, if I hit a comma, it's going to go ahead and add that, and I can type in my next keyword. That's how easy it is to add a keyword in Mylio Photos. You want to add more, just type in another one, click the comma key. And again, you can have multi-word keywords, just space them with that comma, and that'll go ahead and include it. So we can just say orange cat. If I can say, I can't type today. So I could type in orange cat, hit the comma on my keyword, and now we have orange cat. I don't know that I necessarily need that one, but you can see you can have multiple words. All right, so that's how easy it is to add individual keywords to a single photo. Very, very simple. So let's go ahead and jump back over here and talk about adding keywords during import. This hasn't really changed other than the autocomplete is here as well. But when you're importing images, think new media that you're using the copy or the move tool to bring into your library, you have underneath the advanced settings. So if you show advanced settings here, you can add keywords. This is a really great tool to kind of batch process at a really high level. So you add those high level descriptors like event, location, or purpose of that particular shoot, and it applies that keyword tag to every picture in your import. This really saves a ton of time. Now, you don't need to get granular here, but it does help jumpstart that keywording process. So just to show you real quick where that is in the app, if I go up here to add media and choose add media accessible from this device, I'm gonna go ahead and just pick that folder real quick. And if you choose copy or move, so choose copy, show advanced settings, there's those keywords. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about here is this add folder name to keywords. There are some times that you might want to use this. other times that you might not. So if you have a folder description that is very useful, say for instance, Costa Rica trip 2023, you might want to add that as a keyword. That's going to make all those images tagged with that particular keyword when you bring that into Mylio. It also helps you track file origins and if you're importing a structured client or event folder system. So those are some of the reasons you might want to turn that on. Personally, typically I keep that off because when I'm importing a folder, the name of that folder is usually not very descriptive. It's quite generic. So for instance, when I'm coming in from my camera memory card, it's just DCIM. I don't need that as a keyword on my pictures. So I turn that off. It's also not terribly useful if you plan to reorganize your folder structure, again, unless that folder name was in some way descriptive that you want that attached semi-permanently to that image. You can always go in and remove it as a keyword, but it's there until you physically remove it. Also, I find that adding the folder name as a keyword, to me, it can cause a lot of clutter to my list. So that's one reason I keep it off, but there's some good times that you might want to use that. And so that is right here above that keyword field. Add folder name to keywords. You can either toggle that on or toggle that off. Go ahead and cancel that for now. And let's jump back over here and talk about batch adding keywords. So you can select multiple images in Mylio Photos when you're in the grid view and add keywords to everything you have selected. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at that because there's a few things here that make this unique and really quite cool. So I'm going to go back here to my grid view and I've got a handful of different pictures here of cats. Shocking since I have cats. Let's go ahead and just select these. And they all have the keyword cat and they have it in two different spellings here. So I'm going to actually just X this out so I can clean up my list this way and X that. So I'm going to take off the lowercase and take that one out of my list. And I'm going to keep the uppercase. So let's go ahead and make that a check mark. Now every single picture I have has the word cat. Some of them have animal. The reason these ones are black and this one is now blue is I click that check mark and now that is applied to every single selected image. These ones here are only applied to some images. They are not all Siamese cats, but they are all animals. So I'm going to go ahead and check that one as well. And now each one of these selected images has the keyword animal. And let's say I want to add one more keyword to this. It's not one I would typically add, but just for the example's sake, I'm going to go ahead and type in feline. And let's go ahead and type that in. And again, hit the comma on the keyword or on the keyboard. And now I've added feline to all 10 of those images. So again, you can see here, Siamese cat is applied to 2 of these images. That's why there's a 2 there. And then the rest of these are all blue, meaning that keyword applies to all of those images. So adding keywords in bulk is so much easier than it used to be. And then of course, if you want to, down here under smart tags, you can promote any of these. I can say definitively, these are all cats. None of them are dogs. I can say that and go away. Not a Shetland sheepdog. Some of them are Siamese cat, but not all of them. So again, this is a great way to go ahead and manage all of those. Now, let's say I've got this particular image here of Mac, and I have animal, cat, and feline. I've got a lot of other cat pictures in my library. Maybe I want to go ahead and add those same 3 to other images. I can simply say copy all right there, and then I can scroll down. There's another picture of Mac right there, and another one here, and I can just say paste, and now those new selected images have the keywords that I just grabbed from that other list, and I pasted them here. And again, I can go ahead and scroll down. I can find some more cat pictures. Let's go ahead and go past all the birds here. And I know I've got lots of cat pictures in here. There's a couple more. Cats, cats, cats. Another cat being naughty right there. So again, I can just say paste, and now those all have that same set of keywords. Now, as I'm going through this, if I decide, you know what, I really don't want to have feline in my list. That's a keyword, I put it in there for an example, but I want to go ahead and get rid of that now. So the best way to do that here is from the All Photos view. What I'm going to do is go ahead and open up my sidebar, and I can just type in feline here at the top, and that's going to pull up the by keyword. Click that, and that is now applied, and I see all of the pictures that have feline attached to them. From here, I can simply do a Command or Control A to select all. Go down here, and all those 16 pictures have that keyword. I can click that X, and that now removes feline from my list. You can see there's no more pictures here assigned. And that's how easy it is to go in and clean up keywords. So if you want to start cleaning things up, there are a couple ways to do this. So there's different ways you can go through your list. So let's go ahead and talk about how to manage your keyword list now. So I just showed you how to use the by keyword section. So that's sorted alphabetically. I did a quick search here at the top. To me, that's the easiest way to find a specific keyword. But if you're going through and wanting to clean things up, go in here by keyword, and things are in here numerically and then alphabetically. So you can go into any one of these sections and find specific keywords. So if I go ahead and scroll down here, and let's see here, I am going to find something that I don't want to have in here. So far, everything is pretty good. Oh, event and events. I don't need both of these. So I'm going to go ahead and click on events, and I'm going to go ahead and do a select all. And over here on the side, what I can do is I can just add event, singular, add that to both of those. And then down here in my list where I have events plural, I can X that out, and that now gets rid of that. So that makes it a lot easier to go through and clean up that list. So you'll see that that's still listed over here. To get rid of that, you'll just need to go into another view, come back. That forces Mylio to redraw the list, and it'll update. So that's one thing you can do. Another way to do this is if you go to your dashboard and into library stats and down here to keywords. This particular list is based on the quantity of times that has been used. So you can go ahead and scroll down your list. I like to go ahead and scroll down, grab that little handle there and scroll all the way down to the bottom and go, okay, what's only been used once or twice? There's only a few things like here, wildflower, wildflowers. And I'm pretty sure somewhere on my list, I also have wildflowers as one word. So what I can do here is let's go ahead and just click on wildflowers. I'm going to go ahead and select that image and go down here into my list. And there we go, wildflower, wildflowers. You can see there's some extras in there. So I can just go ahead and X those off. And I'm going to actually just keep those single word wildflower. I don't need the plural. I don't need the two words. And that's going to start cleaning up my list. Then when I go back over here to my library stats and my keywords, and again, I scroll down to that very bottom, for me, it makes the most sense to clean up the ones that I haven't used very much. And now we'll see that that one that had just wildflower as two different words, it's not even here in my list anymore. So that is one way you can go in and start managing and cleaning up that list and see what's being used where. So I think that's really helpful and should make your life a lot easier. So keywording existing metadata, this is something that I think can cause a lot of overwhelm, because if you have thousands of images, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of images, that's a lot, right? Going through and adding keywords to everything is not worth the effort, in my opinion. Some people might disagree, but in my opinion, I only want to add keywords to the images that are valuable, the things that matter the very most. So I'm going to start with things like my scanned or historical images, special projects and events, things that I plan to export and share. Those are the things that I'm going to take the time to add keywords to. And of course, I'm going to continue from this point forward on those imports to add some broad keywords to that top level. You can also go through and use QuickFilters to find the flagged and highest rated images, so things that you have looked at and said in the past, these are important, and use that to guide where you start and what you start keywording. So for instance, I could go here into my library and let me go ahead and click that one off. And let's go here and close that back up. What I'm going to do is go here into my by rating label and smart tab, rating label and flag, and I'm going to just select my 5-star images. We'll start there. And I'm going to go ahead and click on all of these and take a look at what I've got going here. And this is where I can start to clean things up. And if I have things that don't have keywords, I can go ahead and start adding them. Now there's not a lot of overlap between a lot of these images. Let's go ahead and grab these here. These are all fall leaves. And those are all being listed as dark. So one of them has dark, one has fall, one has leaf. All of these are leaves. I'm going to go ahead and promote that so they all have that particular keyword. They're all autumn. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And they're all plants. So fall, I would say dark still probably applies. I don't know that that's really a necessary keyword to have. I'm actually going to X that out because I don't think that really even applies. Go ahead and get rid of that one right there. And then fascinating flora, that is a category I have in my portfolio. And that actually applies to all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and check that. And it looks like one of them was edited in Lightroom. I don't know what I did with the other ones, so I'm going to just leave that alone. And now I've updated the keywords for those things. So going through and adding the keywords for the most important things in your library, I think are some of the most important. Here's our pictures. Here's some more cat pictures. These ones don't have any keywords. So I can go here and I can just type in cat. And there we go, there's cat. And I can also say Christmas tree. I can say tree first of all. Let's go ahead and just say tree and Christmas. And you know, I don't need to do Christmas tree. I could, I have it in there, but there's Christmas and so forth. So now I've tagged all of those things because those are really important to me. This is actually one of my favorite pictures of my cat being naughty. He's so cute, but it's just so naughty. That's a great way to be able to find this picture. I want to find all my cat pictures, and sometimes the AI smart tags are going to find the cats. Other times it's not, and that's where your own keywords come in so very handy. The other thing I want to encourage you to do for your existing media is, again, focus on those broad tags. If you're going to go through maybe folder by folder, you can go ahead and add those broad level tags much like you would on an import. So think about things like portrait, military, black and white, wedding, birthday. These are all really high level categories and keywords that you can use and apply to a large group of images at once. And later on down the road, that makes those things easier to find. All right, so once you've taken the time to do this, that is where we get the payoff. And that is going to be when you need to find something later on. Because once something is tagged, it becomes so much easier to find. And the two ways you're most likely going to use this in Mylio Photos is going to be with QuickFilters and with dynamic search. So let's go ahead, since I already have the QuickFilters open, let's jump over here and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of that 5-star. We'll close that one up. And I want to find all of, let's go with dogs. I've been doing a lot of cat stuff, so let's go ahead and do dog. I'm going to just type in dog, and you'll notice a few options up here. It came up with dog sled. That's an AI tag. These ones here have AI. That means that's a smart tag, AI generated. These ones down here have a little key. And that is going to be anything that you've added an actual keyword for. So I can go ahead and click on dog here to find all of my keywords that have dog. I can even pin that, and then I can add other things to it if I like. So that's going to show me all of my dog pictures. So there we go. There's a whole bunch of dog pictures that I have keyworded. Now I have a bunch of dog pictures in here that don't have keywords. That's actually where sometimes the smart tags will come in handy. So let's go ahead and type in dog here one more time and grab that smart tag. So let's go ahead and pin that as well, and I'm going to take off the keyword. And you can see there's a lot of stuff coming up here. Some of it is actually dogs, some of it is not. So this is where I can go through and, let's say, just grab a handful of images here that I know are dogs, and I can go ahead, I can either promote that smart tag here. That would be one way to do that. So here's that. I can check that box. That moves it up and embeds it into my metadata. So smart tags, one thing to note, smart tags are inside Mylio Photos only. They are not saved to your metadata, and they are not searchable outside of Mylio Photos. If you take that and you click that check mark and you promote it to an actual keyword, that is saved to your metadata. So that will then travel with your pictures. So you can either promote a smart tag, or again, you can just type it in and have that be added. I can go here to some of these. I know a good deal of these here are beach. So let's go ahead and grab those, and I can also say beach. There's beach, and add that there, and I've just added beach to a bunch of those. So if I go into my library later and I search dog and beach, let's do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and close this out, and then we're going to take a look here at our dynamic search. So we're going to type in, let's first just type in dog. And this is going to search everything. It's going to pull up the smart tags. It's going to pull the keywords. It's going to pull from anything that says dog in your title or your description, things like that. So I'm just going to type in dog. And you can see there's lots of stuff here. And I can also just go take this a little further and say dog and beach. And now we're going to have things that are dogs and beach. So there's going to be some of them. There's some dogs at the beach. There's those ones we just keyworded earlier. And like I said, this is going to be non-precise because it's pulling not just from keywords, but it's pulling from every field in your library. If you want to specifically search keywords, you can get very granular here. You could use your keywords and do dog and beach, or you can just say keyword, semicolon dog, and keyword, semicolon beach. And that's going to narrow it down even further. So there's a lot of things you can do here to get very specific with your searches, especially when you've made use of keywords. I think they are incredibly powerful and they can really make a big difference in the organization of your library. So as we wrap up for today, some of the things that I'd like you to go away with is how powerful keywords are and that they are portable. These are not specific to Mylio Photos. They are saved to industry standard XMP files and travel with your images. So whether you use Mylio Photos for just now or you use it for long term, they are helpful in both cases. I do recommend adding those broad tags on import. It's going to save you a ton of time later. Plus, it's also a great time to do that because the event or whatever you are photographing is fresh in your mind. So the different keywords you can add that apply to everything in that shoot are going to be easier to come up with than later on when you might have to look through the photos and go, okay, who was there? What was I doing? Doing it as you're bringing in new media can save tons of time. Use the info panel to manage your existing keywords or to add things one-off. You can also select multiple images and add keywords to a bunch of stuff at one time. Version 24.6 makes this process a heck of a lot faster. So if you used keywords prior to this, you're going to notice a big difference. And I think this is going to be a great quality of life improvement for you guys. When you're keywording, focus on what matters most. Tag the things that are most important. So with your existing media, if you have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of images, don't feel like you have to keyword everything. Go through, find your 5 stars, your flagged images, things that are events that you know that are important, and those historical images that you know that information might be lost with you. Get those keywords in there for those types of events before you consider taking on absolutely everything in there. Use keywords to add context. It makes them searchable, and then you can always make that so you can find things faster with those quick filters and dynamic search. Other events that we have going on, we have our live Q&As on Tuesday and Thursday regularly, and a special bonus pop-up on Wednesday next week. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific, so not our usual time. Hope to see you guys at one or more of those Q&As. Also, our coffee break next Friday, it'll be on the Quick album, formerly known as the Mylio clipboard. There's some new functionality there you might not have noticed, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And I hope to see you in just under an hour at our webinar with Rich Harrington, our head of product, to talk about the new family plans. He's going to walk you through how easy it is to add guest devices, to set up and configure those devices to show only what you want them to show, and we'll be available to answer any questions you have about the new family plans, how you go ahead and upgrade if that's something you want to do, who should upgrade, all great questions that we will be addressing this afternoon. So hope to see you guys at 1 p.m. Pacific. Next week, we're also going to have a webinar on Printique, and we're going to be creating a photo book together. It's going to be a lot of fun. So lots of great things coming up for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this update. I know that there have been a lot of questions surrounding it, especially with things moving slowly. It's because there's just so much happening and updating underneath the hood. So thank you all for your patience. And if you've reached out to support for something, your patience with them as well, because there have been a lot of questions. Typically happens with new releases. We expected it, but we are still pretty busy. So again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Lori, for helping out in the chat. And we will see you guys hopefully in about an hour or next week. Bye, everybody.